Hello class, today I'm going to be informing you on how the media has portrayed American Terriers, aka Pit Bulls, negatively. They are seen to be vicious killer dogs. The media has also influenced county and state officials to take forceful actions against the breed. And lastly, how the media has placed fear into our communities. I will prove how the media has been entirely racist against pit bulls and how the government has outlawed or banned these animals solely based on breed. Also, I'll talk about how these bans and outlaws have affected society as well. So imagine you're at home, relaxing with your dogs, when all of a sudden, animal control officials and state officials barge into your house, seize your dogs, and tell you that your dog will be euthanized and there's nothing that you can do about it. The media has had major influence on the outlaws and banning of dogs, or pit bulls. I'm Tasha, and I'll be discussing how the media has instilled fear in society, the outlaws and bans that have been imposed, and how the government reacted in this ongoing discriminatory behavior towards pit bulls. Pit bulls are the unnecessary victim of harsh words and stereotypes, which the media is more than happy to report on a daily basis. The media has hyped these stories up so much, which has resulted in a very, very negative image of the breed. Due to total ignorance of the breed, pit bulls are perceived as vicious, untrustworthy animals. The media continues to instill fear by implying that pits cannot be found in local animal shelters. The media runs these types of stories, right after a pit bull attack, which then leaves the community to believe that if pit bulls can't be found in shelters, they must not be good dogs. Well, the truth is that the media has instilled fear through counties and shelters countywide, so most shelters euthanize every single pit bull that comes through their door. Cities like Denver, Memphis, Boston, and Kansas City have imposed bans on the entire breed of pit bull. These bans were put into place shortly after attacks were becoming more frequent. These waves of attacks normally happen when pit bulls that were bred for fighting escape from their so-called owners. These so-called owners who have poorly trained, poorly bred, and badly trained these dogs for cash. These cities have imposed these bans also because the pit bull is relatively cheap and they are a very good, effective guard dog, especially in urban areas where drugs and violence are prevalent. This type of discrimination is also known as canine racism. Instead of holding the owner responsible, they are deeming the pit bull unfit and not allowing it at all. The government's reaction to this issue has also been very unfavorable. Instead of placing the responsibility on the owners for the incident, they decide to impose bans and euthanize every single pit bull within those county state lines. According to ABC News, Denver was the first city to put bans on pit bulls, and this law was put into effect in 1989 after 2 fatal attacks. Shortly after the law passed in Denver, 380 dogs were rounded up. 260 of them were killed. And what's crazy to me is that even family dogs that were in the backyard were taken. These animal control officials hopped into the people's backyards when they weren't home and took their dogs. These bans are also in effect currently right now in 415 cities and counties nationwide. I hope that I have informed you on all of the issues that these domesticated animals face. We talked about how the media has instilled fear, what bans and laws were imposed, and how the government executed their bans. Lastly, I want to leave you with this. Does anybody remember Chance from Homeward Bound or Petey from Little Rascals? Pit bulls are America's dog, and that image needs to be restored. With outreach and education, it may be possible to restore that image and rehabilitate the pit bull's reputation, restoring an iconic American dog to its rightful place among mankind's best friends. Thank you.